them.
I put the old balls filter on, like as you're getting older, your eyeball underneath your eyes become like a scrotum. That's what I made him look like.
Yeah, you did something with his jowls too. Like his neck is looking extra scrotumy.
Yeah, I was making it really, really leaning into the details on that Cashman picture on the thumbnail. We are live.
Okay, we're live. And am I not glitchy for the first time ever?
Apparently not.
All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the Bronx Pinstripes Show, where today we are reacting to the Boone Cashman end of season press conference. We got it. We didn't get it the last 2 years. I guess after they missed the playoffs, they didn't feel like they owed talking to the fans, and after they lost the World Series, they didn't owe talking to the fans. But getting bounced in the division series, I guess, warranted a press conference, and we got it. Did it make you feel better?
No, it didn't make me feel better. There was, again, these press conferences, like we get mad if we don't get them, but at the same time, it's they don't say anything. They don't say anything. You said before we started going here that Boone said a little bit more, and yeah, maybe he did, but Cashman definitely didn't say shit.
Oh my God. I've never heard someone say so many words with actually saying nothing. Like every answer, he just says all the words you could possibly imagine and no meaning. It's just talking in circles, corporate jargon, buzzwords, and it's in the most condescending tone you can possibly imagine. Every single question that is asked of Brian Cashman, he talks down to the reporter as if they are a peasant who just asked him a question. It is really infuriating how arrogant he has become. For what? Yeah. For what? You haven't won shit in 15 years, dude.
It's a defensive arrogance. That's what it is.
Maybe. But like, you have no reason to be arrogant. I'm not saying you're a trash GM. You're obviously not a trash GM. And the fact that he's been able to be general manager for as long as he has, in and of itself, is impressive. But like, not to reiterate a bunch of things on Cashman, he started in the organization when he was 17, 18 years old as a freaking intern. Okay. So he's been in this organization since he was a child. Think back to when you were 18 years old and how much has changed. And now he's in his late 50s or however old he is. He basically grew up in young adulthood with Hal Steinbrenner, who is now his boss. So anybody who thinks Cashman's ever going to be fired is dead wrong. His last name at this point is Steinbrenner, in my opinion. He certainly, as I did that episode on him a few years ago, like I actually gave him credit for having more of a hand in the Stick Michael era than I originally thought. But at the end of the day, that was Stick Michael's doing, building that core that won all those championships. Sure, Brian Cashman made a couple nice moves in the late 90s to continue that momentum forward, but he has tried on a number of occasions to rebuild a young core, and he has come up empty every single time. The only other time that they were successful in winning a championship was 2009, when there truly was no budget, because they were opening a new stadium and George was dying, and they just said, F it, we're going to spend all the money we possibly can. And they signed 3 All-Stars that winter. And they won the World Series. But guess who also was still on the team at that time? The core 4 was still on the team at that time. And it's been largely failures, in my opinion, since then. And Brian Cashman said something that really pissed me off yesterday. I mean, he said a lot of things that were annoying, but he was talking about how it's not up for him to decide if the season was a success or a failure. He said, "Oh, there was successes and there were failures," but he said, "But ultimately, we're judged on how the fans, will look back on it." It's like, what do you think the fans are saying right now? Well, what fan out there is saying that this has been a success? If there is one, that person's not watching, or frankly, they don't really care. Because, listen, I'm not saying they're the Colorado Rockies, which is just an abomination of a franchise, or the Chicago White Sox, who has become an abomination of a franchise. But when they are spending consistently the top 2 for money, 2 or 3 for money, and they've just keep banging their head against the wall, trying the same things over and over again for the past 8 years, telling us they're awesome when clearly they are not awesome. No, it's not a success, and fans are pissed, but it does not seem like they care. It does not seem like they understand that, and if they do understand it, they certainly don't care. But yeah, that comment among many pissed me off.
You should tell us how you really feel, because I don't understand it. Look, man, like at the end of the day, it's the same thing we thought. I put on the thumbnail, same story, because that's exactly what it is. it's the regurgitation of the same words. He's got no defense, I think, at this point for any of those questions about, not achieving what you're supposed to achieve. And then he just gives these, abstract answers about like the fans, even though the fan response is also completely out of touch, which, makes a lot of sense actually, because maybe they say things, mouthpiece says things, but then they don't actually do the thing. It kind of tracks for the way that they operate. And I don't think that they care what the fans are saying, even though they should, because we're all dumb and we just go back every year and pay money to watch this team, because at this point, it's too deep. It is too deep. People want to go and share the game with their kids. They want to enjoy the game with their friends. And yes, frustration on the field, but at the same time, it kind of doesn't matter. They're still the New York Yankees at the end of the day. And I think they know that. And they're holding all the cards. And that's just kind of the way it is right now, because no one's looking to make any adjustments. And hearing from Cashman, hearing from Boone, a lot of the same things that I was expecting. I want to talk about Boone because there's at least more substance in some of the things that he was saying. You can check on inflections or like the certain words he was saying, like that kind of gave to me a little bit of a tip in what internal conversations were happening. But I would also love to hear from Hal. I would love to hear from Hal.
Me too.
We don't hear from him. The man up in the tower, we don't hear from him. Give me a proof of life. Give me something. Like I don't even think I've seen him on camera in quite some time, maybe at one of the charity events, but him answering some questions, I think is absolutely warranted at this point. And you want to talk about someone who, at the end of the day, who's his boss, and it should be the fans. The fans are his boss at the end of the day, but that's not the reality of how decisions are made or the way that they influence the decisions inside the house. So, but yeah, I would love to hear from him. I would love to hear from Hal talk about what his expectations were, where they fell short, why they fell short, and what he thinks about that as far as dollars spent, adjusting the amount of dollars spent going into next year to make changes for the better. I would love to hear from him, but I doubt we will.
He spoke after they missed the playoffs, and I think he was essentially forced to speak after they missed the playoffs a couple years ago. He didn't talk publicly after they lost the World Series last year. And then this year, I doubt he will speak publicly, because I don't think he thinks this was a failure. And I don't think would he prefer to win versus lose? Of course. You're not going to find a single person in sports that would prefer to lose versus win. But he would prefer to keep doing what they're doing than changing things up, spending more money, rocking the boat, potentially finding a new manager, finding a new general manager, and completely tearing it down and building back up to win. He doesn't want to do all of that to win. He wants to just keep doing what he's doing and hopefully win. But if they don't, as long as they're competitive, as long as they make the playoffs, I think that is like the bar for Steinbrenner at this point, is make the playoffs. That is the bar.
Well, I don't know how I feel about that, the way that you're talking about it, because, I don't think changing anything underneath him would affect that perception of it, right? Like if you change it, they would still be doing the same thing you just said. Like if you got rid of Cashman or Boone, you'd still be doing that same thing. It's just a matter of, not willing to make the adjustment to see if it can work after so long time. That's what's frustrating to me. It's like, if you don't care, if you're making money, you're doing all these things, and if you win, then why not just change it up you're still going to spend the money, still going to get the players, maybe shake something up in the
well, you get different players. You could approach team building differently than how Brian Cashman has been approaching it.
But that's my point. Like, you could do those things as Hal Steinbrenner and still have the sentiment and like the macro outlook and what you just said, right? Like, still going to make money, going to go out there, spend other things. And if we win,
they would make money,
but don't make any changes either.
Right.
Like, to me, that's like another thing you're not doing.
The Yankees are never not going to make money at this point. There was a graphic that I saw within the last year where it was discrepancy between revenue and payroll. And which teams the Yankees rank near the top in Yes, their payroll is one of the highest, but their revenue is, I think, only second to the Dodgers on this graphic, because The Dodgers, I think, have surpassed them in revenue, especially with their international footprint with all the Japanese players that they have acquired. But so like, yeah, the Yankees are spending 3 times as much as the Cleveland Guardians or the, insert mid-market team, but their revenue is 10 times higher. It's like, so it's not apples to apples.
Yeah. Anyway, we're not going to hear from him.
No, we're not going to hear from him.
Anything of substance. But yeah, let's talk about Boone and some of the questions, because I think there were some interesting things that were said directly about Volpi's situation. So I think there's some interesting.
Yeah, things. I actually agree with you that Boone said more than Cashman, and he at least came off as a human. I don't think Cashman came off as a human. Like, he sounded like a robot up there. But Boone, on Volpi. So Volpi underwent left shoulder surgery to repair the torn labrum. This is the injury that he, I guess, initially suffered when he dove for that ball. That was back in May. So that was a long ass time ago. And he was sort of playing through it throughout the year. But he's going to be a little bit behind schedule. Some of the timelines that Boone was talking about were kind of confusing me. He said it's going to be 4 months before he can hit, but 6 months before he can dive on it. So does that mean 6 months before he can play? Because you can't play. You can't go put him out there at shortstop if he can't dive for a ball, right? Like,
yeah, I don't know. The time frames to me, I kind of go in one ear and out the other.
Because he's just kind of talking out of his ass.
Yeah.
But
he was literally looking at notes on his phone so he could remember what things were called.
And but he did. There were a couple pointed questions to him that I did appreciate, asking, "Do you have regrets about playing Volpi as much as you did down the stretch, considering his injury was as severe as it was? Like, he needed surgery. This wasn't a fake injury like we all thought it was." He said no, he has no regrets. He said he did not think the shoulder injury affected Volpi's performance.
Yeah.
And then 30 seconds later said, well, you hope now that he had the surgery and cleaned it up, his performance will improve. Okay. Okay, dude. Like, makes sense for that. It makes sense to somehow make that make sense, but whatever.
When you're listening to what he was saying too, it's there was vagueness. There was more vagueness than I've heard around Volpi in the way that they were talking about him. I think he went to the line of, like, we'll see how the roster shakes out over the winter. We'll see how things are going.
Mix for shortstop.
He will be in the he will be in the mix.
He loves that, in the mix.
He does, and he said that about a number of people. He said that about Dominguez as well.
Said that about in the mix. Rice at first base.
Yeah, be in the mix as and then he went and he didn't say anything about a starter, but a regular player, player, like, just little cop out words, which, again, I find, it's October, the season just ended. You have no idea what things are going to look like at the end of the winter going into spring training. That said, it felt like there was a slight open door for competition at shortstop. And what does that mean? That could mean a number of things. They could bring someone in. They could, who knows who's going to get traded and people get shifted around. Who the hell knows? But at the end of the day, it does sound like they didn't go as hard on the scapegoat of the injury about his performance as I was expecting. I thought for sure
Cashman did.
I'm talking about Boone.
Okay.
I think that was, he definitely was talking about definitive things about needing to get better and on the offensive side and all of these things. But still, a lot of kid gloves with him. The production there, you look at the OPS and some of the other numbers, like, they're about very close to the same over the 3 years, and they're not good. They're not good for what you expect from him. So the injury being part of the reason why, well, that doesn't track if you look at the numbers and you look at the history of the player either.
Well, Cashman thinks it did, though. Cashman said he firmly believes that his shoulder injury affected his performance. He thought Volpi this year, he said, had higher, more swings in his performance, which I did not see other than the first couple weeks of the season. Again, for the second year in a row, Volpi started out hot, and then basically disappeared the rest of the season. Yeah. I forget if it was Boone or Cashman who compared him to Dansby Swanson, who struggled his first couple years.
It was Boone.
Boone said
He
his
compared the career, giving the Dansby Swanson example of how his offense wasn't there early.
But Dansby Swanson, since so his first three, actually technically it was his first four. His first year in the bigs, he had like, I looked this up yesterday. He had like 200 plate appearances, and he actually was above league average. But then his first three full seasons, Dansby Swanson struggled, actually worse than Volpi. And since then, he's been a 105 OPS plus player, 5% better than league average. Volpi's still 30 points away from 25 points away from being a 105 OPS player. But I mean, if that's his ceiling, I guess I'll take it over what I'm seeing. But like, God, if we have to wait another 2-3 years before he just turns into a slightly better than league average player, that's through his arbitration at that point. That you're not re-signing that guy. That is a failed prospect development, in my opinion. If he turns into Dansby Swanson offensively, which, like I said, is 5% better than league average, but it's going to take another 3 years to get there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, I tried to defend him as much as I possibly could, being optimistic on this show early in the season with him and into last year, him being a young guy and just, really my hopium turning into optimism, turning into, some delusion, I guess, at this point. But, when you look at some of the stats on him, like for me, with the way that he looks at the plate, the type of player that he is, I would have no problem with his power being diminished like a decent amount and him just becoming more of a singles hitter. And, maybe he's getting the bump in the numbers from doubles. I don't need him putting the ball over the fence. I need him to get on base, and I need him to be a dynamic player on the base path. And I think he can do that for the most part no, I'm saying he could do that. He could be a valuable player if he became that type of guy. There's nothing saying that he can do that.
What are you talking about?
There's nothing to say that he could do that with consistency, but I'm saying like the type of game can change and he will still be a productive player. People want to see power from every player.
He didn't hit a lot of power last year,
but that's what they want. They want the OPS number to be high. They want the power to be there. I'm okay with a guy being a singles hitter with hitting, a gap here and there, but getting on base at a high clip and stealing bases and playing good defense. I think there's a lot of value in that when you have a bunch of big hitters around you on a team like this. To me, that goes to balance. But again, like we don't know what this guy is, and
he hasn't showed that. He hasn't showed anything. He's
shown that in spurts.
He's also shown power in spurts.
That's the player he should be. He's not a power guy.
He's not a power guy.
He should be.
Yeah, he should be that.
He should be developed in that direction.
Okay.
Whereas I feel like the direction still, we're talking about home runs and we're talking about production because that's what they bring up with him.
By 2029, he will be that player. We just got to wait it out.
Yeah.
He called his defensive issues just a 4 to 6 week blip, though.
He did. I heard that too. I know.
Yeah, just a 4 to 6 week blip where he led the league in errors for the season.
I mean, honestly, that's the last thing I'm worried about with him, to be honest. Like, I think and I do agree that the defense did look better at the end of the year from him. But I think
his throwing was not good all year.
His throwing for a long time was off. He definitely had some type of yip situation.
Every throw he had to make, you're sitting there being like, "Uh-oh, hope this one's not bounced right in front of first base."
I think that is directly connected to the mentals.
Yeah,
along with swinging and missing at such a high clip with the type of swing that he had.
There was also a lot of analysis on him at shortstop, going down to one knee unnecessarily on ground balls, backing up on ground balls, just playing himself into having to rush throws, which his arm already is not a strong arm. So just like you said, bad fundamentals at the position, which he needs to be a fundamentally sound player.
He needs to be a fundamentally sound player. He needs to be able to work a count, not strike out like he does.
The strikeouts are just so unacceptable from someone like him.
The strikeouts are absolutely what kills his game. If he didn't strike out, then it would be a different player. But he does. He misses the ball a lot, and there's just no reason for it. And with this type of swing, it's not like there's no reason for that guy not to be able to hit the ball.
Do you know what stood out to me? And it really has all year, but like, especially when Boone was talking about it in the press conference, just the dichotomy between how they speak about Volpi versus Jason Dominguez. Yeah. Like they talk about Jason Dominguez, like he had 5 hits all year. Like, and it's like you go look at the production that Dominguez gave in limited playing time, and then especially against right-handed hitters, and then you compare that to the Volpe production. You're like, are we talking about the same thing here? Like, how are you talking about Jason Dominguez like he could barely stay above water? Like, I understand they didn't allow him, or they deemed he couldn't hit left-handed pitching, and they didn't even give him the chances. And I know they didn't love his defense. But you're also talking about a guy who led the league in errors and was, for the third full season in a row, an 80 OPS plus player. And then they talk about Dominguez as if it's like Boone's quotes were basically he'll be in the mix to be that guy, see where the winter takes us. He acknowledged Dominguez's struggles from the right side of the plate, but also said it could be due to lack of experience from the right side of the plate, which I'm like, whose fault was that? Man. And then he also just talked about him, how it's like, we're still dreaming on Dominguez. We can all see it in our mind what he can be. I'm just like, I don't understand why they decided to treat this player one way and then another prospect another way. It just does not add up to me. And I'm never going to be able to make sense of it. I'm not sitting here telling you Jason Dominguez could have been the answer to all their problems. I just think he should have had more of a shot this year.
Well, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I think having Trent Grisham with the power numbers that he had is a direct result of why that happened. So
100%.
In some capacity, you're looking at the opportunity that was missed from Dominguez. And
no, they didn't mention that though. Like, I don't know why, like that's an obvious thing to mention. It's like, well, Trent Grisham played his way into a starting role. Yeah, that was obvious, but like, they didn't mention that.
Yeah.
Like they just talked about all of Dominguez's deficiencies.
Right. And yeah, when you look at the two players, like I mean, I get way more excited by looking at that kid's swing. That kid's got, you can see the massive potential with his bat. And he did say that he went back to the reps and like, he doesn't have reps, and it goes for the same thing in left field. I'm like, what are we doing? No shit. He needs reps. That, like, maybe if you gave him reps, by time September comes around, you're seeing like a lot more of what a complete package would be with Dominguez. It's not like he was not a high prospect coming up. He was a hot prospect.
He was like the number top. Wasn't he top 5 in all of Major League Baseball?
There was grainy Bigfoot videos of him in the Dominican playing behind the fence, and we're like, ooh, this kid, like, talk about.
Is he? Well, so my fear is he goes by the way of Gary Sanchez, and following kind of the exact same trajectory. Maybe not the exact same, because I think they did give Sanchez his fair shake behind the plate, especially 2017, 2018. But like, eventually they moved on from it. And I feel like that's the trajectory we're going for Jason Dominguez, who I just looked it up again, had a 113 OPS plus against right-handed pitching. Okay, so he's 13% better than league average. And I think if he got more consistent playing time, he would have been even better than that, because there was a point in the season where he was like a 125, 130 OPS plus player. Like, that is actual production. Volpe gave you none of that, but you're still talking about Dominguez like he can barely sniff major league pitching.
I think in the way that they talk about guys, that the position 100% matters. I would compare it more closely to what Miguel Andujar showed. Andujar came up, lack of major skill at a position, third base, errors, had to move him out.
Dominguez is better in left field than Andujar was at.
But hold on, the bat was there. I mean, the guy was
40 something doubles.
He was a doubles machine, and you see what the bat could have been if you give him a little more consistent time, playing time. The guy's still in the league, still productive, being traded as a piece to help another team go.
Maybe he's the answer at third base.
But I mean, like, left field at one point, I don't know what it is with left field, but since Andujar was out there for a minute, was like, yeah, it wasn't the best thing, but he was okay out there. Frazier was out there. We all know what happened there. Now he's just a whiny kind of like fake fan that goes to the bleachers. I don't even know what he is right now. And then you have Dominguez, who actually has the ability, the skill set to go out there and play well, high athleticism, dynamic bat, and still, like, it's just this, it's left field. Like, there's a kid out there, maybe we'll give him a chance.
He's not going to be, I mean,
prospect.
You can already tell he's not going to be an everyday player next year.
I mean, I don't know about that, but it's wild. It does depend on who they sign, obviously.
They mentioned Spencer Jones is in
There's
the mix
just no reason to not give him an everyday opportunity. But again, like this has been an ongoing thing ever since Brett Gardner
for the left field position.
for the
you're
left
saying,
field position. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Gary Sanchez, to me, yes, like his bat he came out of the gate ridiculous.
I'm more comparing him to
different
Gary
story.
Sanchez in the sense like they signed Gary Sanchez at 16 years old out of the Dominican, the same way they signed Jason
That
Dominguez
is true.
as a teenager,
Mhm.
and phenom status the whole time. And then, yeah, so far their major league careers have been very different, but I'm afraid they're going to continue to treat Jason Dominguez as a player not worthy of playing every day. And he's eventually going to be off the team and he'll go start somewhere every day for some other team, probably hit 30 home runs and hit 285 because he's talented. It's obvious he's talented.
Yeah, the bat to ball skills there are with him are very, to me, they're clear. It's a guy that just needs reps and gets continued to be developed, and he's going to be a very productive player, and should be the Yankees long-term solution in left field.
Mhm.
That's it. Let's move on and let's figure out a different position. Stop fucking around with all the ones that we have.
It's like, I don't know why it's so hard.
Let's get another outfielder.
How about
maybe
this?
If he can play center and left field and right field and like an occasional utility infield. Now that guy, we can, give him some reps against left-handed pitching.
I'm not saying with certainty that Jason Dominguez is the answer in left field, but he could be. And so give him that shot to go fail. And then if you need to go address the position, do it after he fails. In my opinion, he has not failed yet because he has not gotten the opportunity to even succeed.
It's not even close to being a failure at all. Like the numbers are actually not bad. And I'm sorry, but the last thing I will remember for the 2025 season is Jason Dominguez roping a double in the gap. This is the last thing. That is the thing that is burned into my brain for this season. That is burned into my brain.
Best swing of the division series.
The best swing of the year.
Coming off frozen cold. Hadn't swung a bat in 2 weeks. Boom, double.
Just a rope. And the swing before that, even he fouled the ball straight back. I'm like, ooh, he's up there like swinging the bat like a real Major League Baseball player, and then bang, double in the gap. I'm like, I'm leaving. This is bullshit.
Boone also said that he feels he's a much better manager than he was when he started. He said he pointed out also this season they asked him, "Do you have any regrets about the season?" And he did point out he second guesses himself on how he could have managed some of the games throughout the summer when they were struggling, because he's like, well, we only lost the division by 1 game.
It's such an answer. Like, let me give the most vague possible answer on something that I can like definitively point to as why, because we only lost by 1 game.
Right. No, they made sure to remind us.
Creative. He's like, I could have been more creative in the way that I approach. How about you be less creative? How about we be less creative and just put players out in the field to play and leave them there for a little while and see what happens.
Well, but it's like, I know it's bullshit what he's saying. He's just being vague to answer the question and being like, yeah, if we won 1 more game throughout the 3 months we were a 500 baseball team, maybe we would have won the division. Yeah, well, that's how the standings work there, Booney. But also, like, if anyone thinks that is to mean he's not going to manage every single day next year, like it is May 18th against the Kansas City Royals, you're dead ass wrong, because he's still going to continue to manage every game. Like the game is, there's always a tomorrow, and there's not going to be any urgency at any point in the season. And if you want some specifics, Boone, I know he's not going to say this, but he kind of should, because I don't expect Devin Williams to be back there. It's like, oh, after Devin Williams blew like the 9th game for us, maybe I should stop using him in high leverage, and maybe we would have won the division.
Okay, and this isn't a new thing, because the year before, the guy that you had in the same exact goddamn position blew, what did Holmes blow? 12?
13.
13, sorry. 13 saves, and then, so let's just keep running that guy out. Again, same story. It's the same shit over and over again. Sometimes they're different players. Sometimes they're the same players. Same guys, quote unquote, making the decisions. It's the same shit.
And then a couple other things on Boone. Also, what Cashman said, I found this to be maybe the funniest line of the whole press conference. Boone said they asked him why people should believe he can lead a championship team. He said because he's working his butt off. And then Cashman was asked essentially the same question. And he said, well, he loves the process and the work that Boone puts in because he, quote unquote, has championship intent.
Championship intent.
We should hang that banner. The Yankees should have a banner unveiling championship intent 2025 Aaron Boone. We should all throw a parade for it.
That could be the
Good job, Booney. Good job. You have championship intent. You know what? I have intent on winning the lottery. It has yet to happen. I have intent on growing my hair back. It has yet to happen.
That could be the mantra for the 2026 season.
Championship intent.
Championship intent. Slap it on the wall. Slap it. If
we still made t-shirts, we could make the t-shirts.
Championship intent.
With Boone's
how to be a Yankee. Championship
intent. The funny thing is I came out of this press conference, which is an hour and a half of my life I'm never getting back, actually hating Cashman way more than I hated Boone. Like I said, Boone, I could at least be like, well, that's a human speaking to me. I think Brian Cashman has been replaced by like as a cyborg. Like I don't think he's human anymore.
Yeah. It definitely feels like a guy that's got nothing to lose or nothing to, nothing to be fearful of at all.
Yeah, no, nothing to lose. Nothing to be fearful of. He's speaking with full immunity.
Nothing. Yeah. He can't lose anything because he's there with immunity. Exactly.
All right. Before we talk more about Cashman, if you're looking for tickets this winter, there is no better place to find tickets than with the Game Time app. They've got football, basketball, hockey, comedy, theater. They've got it all. I've used the Game Time app many times, and I absolutely love it. Their app is super streamlined and intuitive to use, which is key if you're trying to snag tickets quickly. Their last-minute deals feature is especially cool because you can snag great tickets for affordable prices by just waiting it out. You can save up to 60% in select sections. I also love the all-in pricing feature because there's nothing worse than being hit with added fees at checkout. Game Time tells you what the total price is going to be up front, which, like I said, much appreciated. Last but not least, their lowest price guarantee means if you find tickets in the same section or row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code BRONX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code BRONX for $20 off your first purchase. And we are also brought to you today by Factor. It was a actual literal life save for me last week as the Yankees playoffs were still going on. Leanne was super busy at work, so I was like, had no time to cook meals for myself. So I was saved by Factor meals many, many times. If you're looking to try new cuisines, Factor can help. You get more variety and more meals at no extra cost. If you're trying to stick to a diet, Factor can help there too. They are supporting your wellness goals even more with GLP-1 friendly meal options this fall. And if you're looking for just something that is easy and convenient, which is the main reason why I love Factor, they can help there too. There is no prep, no mess. It is awesome. I mean, I wish they made kids meals because I would love nothing more to be able to just heat something up quick for the kids and have them eat it because they are all delicious as well. Eat smart at factormeals.com/Bronx50 off and use code Bronx50 off to get 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code Bronx50 off at factormeals.com for 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for a year. Get delicious, ready to eat meals delivered with Factor. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto renewing subscription purchase.
Need some Factor nuggets.
Factor nugs, Dino nugs, Factor nugs, whatever. Just make it easy on me. Another interesting, speaking of nuggets, the coaching changes.
Yeah, a little housekeeping. There's a couple of housekeeping things here.
Well,
that one specifically.
Those were Cashman's decision.
Of course they were, because Boone doesn't make decisions.
No, but those contracts, we'll talk about that. Those contracts from Mike Harkey and Travis Chapman were up. Mike Harkey, by the way, been with the organization. The only man with a championship ring was Mike Harkey. Okay. And he is gone now.
I wanted Harkey in the dugout when they were looking for a bench coach. He's got the respect of everybody.
He's actually been
a baseball guy.
He's been in the clubhouse the last time they won a championship.
I would take Mike Harkey as the manager tomorrow.
But Cashman said, a lot of hard decisions have to be made. Those contracts expired, and we just had to make the decision that we go in a different direction. I don't understand why it's like They keep changing the furniture around Boone, expecting things to change. It's almost like subconsciously they know, like, this isn't working. Something's not right. Let's bullpen coach gone.
It's not subconscious.
Hitting
They
coach
know
here.
it's not subconscious. It's in your face.
Okay, well,
everybody knows it's not working. They're just not willing to make the change.
Maybe I'm
the
giving
guy
them
that they
too
have
much
to.
credit then.
Because it's tied directly to Cashman. And if you get rid of him, then Cashman is looking terrible because of the decision he made. He's tied to Boone.
So. At this
internally
point,
tied to Boone. And you
just
said he's a Steinbrenner.
We just said he has immunity. I don't think at this point, if Boone is let go, that means Cashman is gone. Like I said, when Cashman wants to be done, he will be done. If he wants to be the general manager for another 15 years, he will be. And Aaron Boone's not going to be the manager for another 15 years. He's probably going to be the manager for another 3 years, which will be another 2 years, which will be 10 total years, which is exactly how long they had Joe Girardi for, and one less year than they had Joe Torre for. And the only reason Joe Torre lasted until 2007 is because he won 4 freaking championships. Also, Girardi got leash because he also won a championship. Why is Boone getting leash? He hasn't won a championship. If Boone won a championship in 2018 or 2019 and he's still getting leash, I can at least understand it. It's like, okay, well, this guy did win for us and we believe he can still win for us. Boone has won nothing for them, but he still continues to get rope.
Yeah.
And Boone said Mike Harkey was one of his best friends. That's best friend number 2 that they fired. They also fired, what's his face? Sean Casey, who came in. No, 3. Who was the third best friend? Crap. Who is it?
I can see his face. Played with the Padres.
I can't think of his name. But it's 3 besties. Boone has no best friends anymore.
He's got no best friends. They're all starts with an N. They're all gone. Yeah. Look, I hate when I see this. This happened with the Mets as well. Like the manager stays, the whole coaching staff goes, and it's like, okay, I'm going to look the other way while these guys all get, just get their heads chopped off, and act like I didn't see it. But I'm going to keep going and then bring in some new guys and we'll go from there. Phil Nevin.
Yes. Giant dome, massive head.
Yeah. Thank you.
So
G-Man and Bulls NYY in the chat. I said it right before I saw that though, for the record.
Phil Nevin was Boone's best friend, I believe, from like his playing days, right?
Yes.
And the knock on Phil Nevin was he was not analytical and he was like too much of a hothead. Remember, like they were criticizing
influencing him too much because looking at the field.
And then they brought in Sean Casey for half of freaking. That was the season they weren't even in the, like. What was that about?
It was just straight off of a shitty podcast. Come on,
that was weird. Like, can we acknowledge how weird that was? They're just like, we have to do something. So we're gonna fire the hitting coach.
Yeah.
And then we're going to bring in Sean Casey, who on the last day of the season is like, I'll be back, guys. Don't worry. They're going to offer me no contract for Sean Casey. And now Mike Harkey, who, like I said, has been in the organization since the last time they won a championship. The amount of hours he's probably poured into the Yankees organization. And then it's just like, yeah, thanks, Harkey. Peace out.
I mean, that's the Yankees organization does that all the time.
No, I know. And it's like, and I want them to make changes. I want them to be making coaching changes. You said you would take Mike Harkey as a manager in a heartbeat. And I don't think I would. And it's not because I have anything against Mike Harkey. I want completely fresh blood on the coaching staff, up and down. Not a single coach I want to stay, because if any thread is from the Boone era, that is a bad thing. I want the players coming into 2026 spring training on fucking edge, like buttholes puckered. Like I am nervous as hell about what is going to happen. These players need to play with an edge, and a way to do that is get completely new, fresh blood in there, top to bottom.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this for years. It's not happening. And Harkey, I mean, if anybody's not that guy that needs to be, and the reason I say, I take him is because I'm looking at the alternative right now. Take him over Boone in a second. I could say that about 1,000 people, but
take anybody.
Yeah,
not anybody.
So that's going to make a big deal, right? The bullpen will be better now, obviously, because Harkey's not there. He didn't see good bullpens. And
I mean, he wasn't really doing managing.
I don't know what you do. He answers the phone. He gets the guys ready. He talks to them. He looks.
He tells them to stretch.
Yeah. Like there's things that he's looking at ahead of time. He's talking to them out there. A lot of good baseball. Regurgitations.
He's probably
far from the problem. Far from the problem. So yeah,
he's probably fun to talk to.
I bet he's a blast to talk to. He's. I know CC would rave about him as well. And I remember, dude, he got me. He won me even more than he ever had when he, for Halloween, put CC's number on, dressed up as CC, and people thought that was great.
Right.
But yeah, it's that. And then there's a couple of injuries. Obviously, the Volpi one we talked about, but Rodon also went under the knife to get scoped to get the debris and all the things out of that elbow. And from what they're saying, again, like time frames. Okay, how are you gonna tell me he's gonna be a couple weeks?
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
2 weeks into the season, you're not going to see. It's October. Okay. It's crazy. And I know
he won't be ready for April 1st, but he'll be ready for April 15th.
He's got 8 weeks of no throw or something like that, whatever it is. And then you start ramping him up. Like, you telling me that he can't get ramped up in that time?
Doesn't everyone have 8 weeks of no throw right now?
I think most guys are still throwing. They're just not I think a lot of guys stay throwing.
Really?
Yeah, I think they do. Not to the same capacity at all, but they take a little time off, but then they start throwing pretty quick. Keeping that arm loose a little bit. Maybe they shouldn't.
Yeah, Rodon, I don't know if that's a reason for him shitting the bed in the playoffs or not, but
no.
Whatever. Judge does not need surgery though. That's positive news.
Yeah, it is good news.
So
all the miles per hour tracking the baseball,
hold on.
He lobbed it into second is we can erase that because his arm was. I mean, in the last couple of games, he threw the ball, relatively hard. It looked like there wasn't any problem with it.
This means one of two things.
False storyline.
Number one, it's that they were just completely wrong, which is very aggravating. I mean, Boone saying he's probably not going to play the field again, only for Judge to be like, no, I don't know why he said that. I'm going to play the field again and then play the field.
Literally
again.
Never seen me throw.
Or number two, they should do surgery. They've deemed he doesn't need surgery. This injury pops up again, except it's going to be on March 19th next year, and then he'll have surgery. So those are the two options.
I mean, look, if you're not right, if you don't need surgery now, it's not like you can just have the surgery and it's better.
When have they ever misdiagnosed anyone?
Well, I don't trust them either way. So you tell me you trust them to perform surgery on something that doesn't need surgery?
And I am not advocating getting surgery if you don't need surgery. Obviously, surgery is a very serious thing. I just find it kind of amazing that it went from so debilitating he can't throw a baseball, is not going to play the field again, to fine, doesn't need surgery.
Yeah, I mean, with ligaments, that absolutely can happen. You need time down for said ligament to heal. You can make it feel better. So I'm not surprised by that at all. And especially it was a flexor, right? It was like, if it's sore, it affects you. But once it's fully healed, like, you're fine. And there shouldn't be any heightened reason for aggravation at that point.
Yep. A couple other things. So, did you keep a counter of how many times they brought up the fact that they made the World Series last year?
I did not keep a counter, but
I counted 7.
Okay.
In an hour and a half.
You got to be reminded about that.
In an hour and a half press conference about the 2025 season, they said 7 times that they made the 2024 World Series.
Yep.
Just reminding everyone, hey, don't complain too much. We were in the World Series last year.
Yeah, we were there. We had the intent to win a championship, and that was very clear when we were in the World Series. Don't forget that.
They, to their credit, didn't bring up the playoffs are a crapshoot, the playoffs are a luck kind of thing. I thought they were going to lean on that. They didn't really lean on.
I mean, they kind of said it. Cashman was basically saying you need to be firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, they said that.
You need to have everybody.
That's different.
You need the pitchers to pitch. You need your hitters to hit, and they need to come through in every moment. So I mean,
okay. I mean, maybe you can take it that way. Yeah, he said you need to bring your A game. We didn't bring our A game. I mean, that's any team, any sport's going to say we need to play well to win, and we didn't play well. Like, that's kind of obvious.
But again, it's totally leaning on the side of like, hey, we were if we had our A game, this was the roster to do it as
Right.
well.
Well, Boone thinks it was the best roster he's ever managed.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, talent wise, there could be an argument.
Whatever the argument is, I don't. Whatever. I whether it's the best or not, I don't think the roster was good enough to win a championship, even if they brought their A game. And they did not bring their A game. They brought their F game, and that's why they got bounced in the second round. And it wasn't even that close. And they were remember, Red Sox defensive and mental mistakes, Cam Schlittler historic performance, and an Aaron Judge home run not being 2 more inches to the left from not even being in Game 4 of the ALDS.
I mean, yeah. Go
So
back.
You want to no, but like you want to talk about luck? Like they got breaks.
There were definitely breaks. There were defensive breaks in the Red Sox series. So that one I'll go back to. And Blue Jays also.
And in the Blue Jays series,
they had opportunities, no doubt.
The only games that 2 of the 3 games they won this postseason were because the other team made mistakes. The other game they won was because Cam Schlittler was just Roger Clemens' prime reincarnated.
Right. Yeah. I think that when he's saying some things like that about how we had to be, we had to deliver every single time, we had to execute every single time. It's a little disingenuous to say that it's even remotely a possibility with the way that their offense is designed and how they play.
Yep. He also said the phrase, "We need to optimize opportunities." Brian, are we still talking about baseball? Like, is this sports that we're talking about, or what are you talking about here? Are you talking about sales process, like customer success? Like, what are you talking about? Speak like a human. This is sports, after all. This is not a freaking tech company, Brian Cashman. This is a baseball team. Talk like it's a baseball team.
But that's what they do need to do. They need to optimize it. The nerds need to pull out some better equations.
Need to crunch more spreadsheets. That's why they'll win.
Yeah, and that way. Then Aaron Boone can be more creative and win one more game. And then none of this is a conversation.
Listen, as someone who in their professional career appreciates optimizing opportunities and making sure the numbers add up and everything, like every team should do that. But don't sit in a press conference and talk to us like that's what you need to do or optimize opportunity. Like no one asked him, like, what do you mean by that? Does that mean
I think he's meaning we need to get a hit if there's a guy on second base?
Okay, well then say that because this is baseball. Say we need to hit better with runners in scoring position. We need to not make errors.
We need to win extra inning games. We need to actually get the guy on second who shouldn't be there, the fake guy on second. We need to get him across the plate so that we have that actual run. And then, we can lock it down with defense and pitching.
We need to strike out less. We need to run the base. Oh, he did say, oh God. The question was asked him about mental and physical mistakes. And first of all, he started out by condescending the woman who asked, pretending he couldn't understand the word she said, even though it was very clear she said mental and physical mistakes. But because he wanted to be a condescending douchebag, he had to, be like, oh, what did you say? And then he made sure to mention that we did our deep dive and found that we were one of the best base running teams in the majors. So whatever proprietary deep dive they did to deem themselves one of the best base running teams in the majors to make themselves feel good, that made sure to remind us about that. And also said that mistakes happen everywhere. Not mistakes are unacceptable. We can't have mistakes. We need to work to clean up mistakes. If you look around the league, mistakes are happening everywhere. So once again, it's,
that's not an egregious comment. It's more about what you follow that up with. Okay. And how you do it, because it's just stating a very obvious thing. Like, no shit. Everybody makes mistakes. It's baseball. You literally get out 2 out of 3 times and you're in the Hall of Fame. Like, okay, we understand that. That's literally the premise of baseball. You're not going to play flawless baseball, but you can play more flawless baseball. You can play more mistake-free baseball. You can prioritize it. You can hold people accountable to it. You can talk about it. You could make sure that is written on your wall instead of intent for a championship. How about play defense? How about no mental mistakes? How about do the small things, do the little things right? I'd rather write that on the wall and use that as my mantra, because if you do those things, usually the results will be intent of a championship or championship intent. So
you want to talk about optimizing opportunities? Don't make mental mistakes, because those Those don't optimize. Those hurt your chances to be successful. Then you have to be ultra perfect in your performance and probably be playing an inferior team to overcome mental mistakes in a short playoff series. So that you want to talk about the randomness of the postseason, like it could be random if
you get the home run, you win the game. If you don't get the home run, you don't win the game.
No, but it's not even that.
That's how the Yankees play.
Well, that's how the Yankees play. But like you look around the playoffs happening right now, right? It's 2-2 in the American League, and the Dodgers are about to sweep probably the Brewers. The Dodgers are by far and away so much more talented on paper than the Brewers. And the Blue Jays and the Mariners are probably a little bit more even. But you can go probably point. I haven't watched every single game, every single inning, but you can probably go point to certain moments where a mistake here or there makes or breaks a game. So like, it's not that that's random, because those mistakes also cost you a July 12th game or an April 10th game. It's just that it's not looked at a microscope because it's April 10th. It's not October 10th when that one single day could end your season. But those mistakes for the Yankees happen on April 10th, happen on July 19th, and they happen on October 10th. And they keep happening every single year throughout the regular season and throughout the playoffs.
And that's why the regular season is so important, because you need to emphasize the way that you play, so that by the end of the year, those mistakes are few and far between, or at least the mindset is those are not part of our game. And unfortunately, that's just not the case with Aaron Boone's Yankees.
And then Cashman went on WFAN afterwards, and they asked him about Jeter and A-Rod's comments on the Fox broadcast about how basically criticizing the Yankees, saying that all decisions in the dugout come from above anyway. And Cashman obviously took offense to that, said he talked to Derek Jeter, doesn't know why Jeter said that. He's not informed on that. It's absolutely false. Brian Cashman thinks Boone is a good manager, and according to Brian Cashman, Derek Jeter agrees that Aaron Boone is a good manager. No idea what was said between the two of them. Not going to tell you what was or wasn't said. I just know that this got under Cashman's skin specifically because if Derek Jeter is criticizing the team, he knows people are going to listen, and that's going to get a lot of legs. And if you and I are sitting here bitching about the team, sports radio callers, sports radio hosts, he doesn't really give a crap about that. But when it's Derek Jeter, who all Yankees fans, he is the holy one in the eyes of Yankees fans, cannot do any wrong, Derek Jeter, especially because go back to the contract dispute between Cashman and Jeter at the end didn't get along anyway.
The way that this conversation went down was like this. Okay. Cashman called Jeter and said, I heard what you said, that Boone doesn't make any decisions. I'm here to tell you that he does make the decisions. Jeter's like, okay, Cash. And then Cash was like, well, the reason I'm really calling is you're still going to be there for my daughter's interview for Yes Network, right? you'll be there for that. Yes. Okay, Cashman, I'll be there. And then they hung up. So just had to make sure that it was still lined up, that he didn't ghost the daughter for the Yes Network interview.
You think it's even a phone call? That's not a text message?
No, I don't think Cashman. I don't think Jeter texts, to be honest. I think that's a phone call. It's a short one. It's a short one. And Jeter's just like yesing to get off the phone because he doesn't want to be on the phone.
He sees Brian Cashman popping. Fuck.
Yeah. Forgot about the goddamn interview I'm doing with his daughter.
Oh man. Yeah. It's just, it's like, they're talking Jeter and A-Rod are talking heads. It's like, just
and it's funny because someone brought up they just before that they picked him to win the World Series. I'm like, no shit, they picked him to win the World Series. I bet Ortiz picked the Red Sox.
Yeah. Guess who Ortiz picked? You'll never guess.
This is what you do when your career is over. You placate to a fan base. That's the game. You think Ortiz is picking the Twins? You see that cornhole toss by A-Rod?
No,
I forget I don't know where they were. I guess there was a tailgate of some sort. Drilled it just from a side angle.
Listen, it was only it only annoyed me more, as you can tell. I'm fired up.
Yeah.
And it's last episode we obviously announced that we're not going to be doing the show every single week next year like we've been doing for 11 years. And we got so many nice comments, nice emails, nice messages. And thank you guys so much. Today is not our last episode. We're going to definitely do like a look back in November at some point. We're really just focused on the show and Scott and I's thoughts on everything and potential plans moving forward and all that stuff. But one of the a lot of comments had a similar thing in them where they were like, I don't blame you. This team makes me frustrated. Like, I don't know how you cover this team, and I don't have the same enthusiasm for the team anymore. And listen, I don't know if I was clear in what I said last episode about why we're not going to be doing the show anymore. Like, it's not just because the team is frustrating. That is a big reason, though, because one of the things we have always said from the beginning, because this is not our jobs, right? Like, we've made some money doing it, but certainly not enough money to support a family on. So
That was never the intent.
This is a hobby money, like you read about. But we always said, if we're not going to do it, if it's not fun anymore, and that's really the main thing recently for me. I'm not going to speak for you. For me, it's not been fun anymore. And the reason it's not been fun anymore, it's not like I don't have fun talking to you. Of course, I have fun talking to you. The team hasn't. I haven't enjoyed following the team day in and day
There's
out
an exhaustion.
anymore.
There's an exhaustion when you say the same thing over and over again over the last years, and when you're doing it, it's repetitive. There's a lot of repetitive things that happen with this team, as everybody who's watching it knows. Talking about it on a weekly basis or twice a week, as we had been for the most part, sometimes 3 times a week, and you can only analyze what Boone does so many times. Like, God bless the people that are getting paid to do this shit and are constantly like the beat reporters asking the same goddamn question over and over again, because it's legitimately the same thing that you see in front of you. It's just a different year, sometimes a different player, but the same mouthpieces that are giving you the same bullshit. And then the same approach to the way that they play the game and the franchise. Yep. But yeah.
And this press conference was confirmation in my eyes that nothing's going to change, because they don't think they're doing anything wrong. They think what they're doing is right. It's bullshit in their eyes. They haven't won a championship, and they're going to continue to just do these same things, and they believe that's going to lead to a championship. So it's really hard to look at that and get on board.
Yeah. And I will say the other, another reason why, we take the show seriously. We always have. We always want to make sure that we're putting out a really good product. And with the way life has also become for the two of us, is like it's a little bit more difficult to watch every single game. And if you're talking about it on a weekly basis, it becomes, I want to make sure that if we're doing this, if this product is moving forward, that we're doing it to the best of our ability, and we have high standards in how we want to put our the show out there and make sure that we're adding value to everybody and not just coming on here to bullshit. So it's part of that as well. It's like you need to be extremely committed to all of the games, to making sure that you're seeing all of the things in order to talk about it in a way that we enjoy talking about it. So I think that kind of goes into it as well.
That's a huge reason. Yeah. Because we're going to talk more about this on our next episode. But I thought basically through the 2019 season, in my certainly biased opinion, we were putting a great podcast out. Every single episode was great because we were doing a lot of research. We would spend hours every single week putting notes in, watching things back, trying to analyze everything, finding guests that we thought were knowledgeable and could add value. And then
don't even, and that's not even talking about keeping up all of the channels that are, it's a lot of work to do.
Multiple social channels, a website that at that time I was writing on weekly. Yeah. And then, after the 2019 season, I'm not using COVID as the excuse because
COVID fucked up a lot of shit, to be honest.
It fucked up a lot of shit for our in-person stuff, but I also never had more time to podcast in my life than during COVID. That's why I did history episodes that legitimately took me 30 hours a week to do. That was a full-time job every single week during the pandemic because I had no work to do. And then after that, I had kids. Kemp was getting older. our careers were going in a different direction. Couple that with the fact that the team was becoming so goddamn frustrating. And I don't think I am not completely satisfied with the product we put out basically for the past 5 years. That's not to say it was a bad product. I think a lot of episodes were good. I think one of our best stretches was last year during the playoffs. I think we were, on top every single night, live right after the games. And I thought we gave good takes there, but it's just going to be really hard to do that going forward. And I would rather, even if we call it a pause, whatever we're going to call it on this, then continue to do it at this sort of rate we've been doing.
Yeah. Yeah. And we'll figure out, don't delete the feeds. Don't do that. Don't unsubscribe because one, we have another episode that we're doing together, but there's also, there could be a variation of what we do in some capacity. And maybe it's not both of us, maybe it's one of us, maybe it's both of us occasionally, maybe it's one of us more often, who knows? Maybe it's nothing. We haven't really figured all that out, but at the same time, we do know that in the capacity that we have been doing it, it's just not sustainable to our level of standard. So yeah, life changes, man. It is what it is. It's been a hell of a run. I mean, I'll get into this next. I don't want to.
Yeah,
I truly cherish the relationships that we've built through Bronx Pinstripes. So, yeah.
And who knew all this time? You're my older brother. We just lined up.
I mean, yeah, we talked about this at one point. Like, I've known you your entire adult life, adult life.
Yeah, but just people are like, you guys are brothers, right? I'm like, the last names. Like, those are different.
They're
right?
different names.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in and for dealing. I'm sure sharing in our frustration. We don't have an exact date when the next episode will be out. Assume sometime in the first half of November. Will obviously be Scott will be posting about it on social media. And but yeah, check the podcast feeds, the YouTube feeds. And if something major newsworthy breaks between now and then, we will be here to talk about it. We'll see you guys then.